You see what it is, ain't nothing but them Big Dookie Chains. Yo, big shout out to Tash, big shout out to Van, Styles, you know what they doing. Look at this place, man. Big Dookie Chains coming to any streaming platform near you. What y'all smoking on? Cheddar DVD.
Yo, what's going on? It's Chris Tash right here with Chris Tash Podcast, Big Dookie Chain crossover episode. To my right over here, I got Van Styles, Big Dookie Chain. I got Hush behind the boards. And across from me right now, I have Albie Montgomery, Cheddar DVD, Firebrand Cannabis Dispensary, South Station, being built right now, Long Way, Fontos, and What You Smoking on TV. Man, you got a lot of shit going on, man.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say that. Just a little bit. Just
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I know you from a couple weed things. Van knows you from a couple Cheddar DVD things. One thing I would like to get out of the way real quick. Van, right next to you. Did you see what this man brought for you?
No, what is that?
No. This is going back to like 2006 when you or somebody working for you would bring by Cheddar DVDs to the radio station to do giveaways with. So I have some of them still.
Wow.
Yeah, check this shit out.
I brought some sealed ones through.
Wow.
Check this out. Look at this, man.
These old bad boys.
Salute.
Look at these.
Do you remember any of these?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little story about any one of these three copies right here? Anything about one of those? And so, and tell us, give us a little quick rundown of what Cheddar DVD is, and then feel free to just tell us a story about any one of those three DVDs.
So we'll first start with, like, for me, one thing you can clearly see is this is a change in logos. So first thing I remember was one time Mace, we were together and he said Cheddar R. So that was something that quickly made me say, okay, it's not Cheddar R, it's Cheddar. So that was a quick change of logos. If you see the last Cheddar update, it's a little bit cleaner than this, the last version. So that's one thing that's sticks out. And the next thing is the barcode on this. You can see this is clearly barcoded differently on the bottom. The third thing would be is I changed advertisement. If you open this, you'll see it's a clear back. And the advertising, you'll see I sold advertisement within the inside of the DVD as well. So when I see this, I see the business straight ahead. Okay, where was I at in time? What was we doing business-wise?
It's dope.
So then if we want to deal back, Joel Santana, great interview, Spanish Harlem, meet him one-on-one. In his store, I meet his mom. She ran his business. We hanging out. He shows us how to roll a bandana. He shows us how to roll a Dutch. He has his store live in Spanish Harlem at the time. So, he really, opened his arms up to us.
That's some 90s ass or 2000 shit right there. Yeah. Joel Santana, teaching you how to roll a bandana. That's a time capsule in a specific time in hip hop.
Absolutely. And that leads me to just have to point out my favorite mixtape of all time is the Joel Santana Lil Wayne Can't Feel My Face mixtape. That shit was fire. Just absolutely insane.
Classic.
Yeah. So
just to start back at the beginning a little bit, I just wanted to get that out of the way because that must be pretty cool. Do you see these things often anywhere? I know he's gonna want you to sign those before he goes. This man collects memorabilia like you wouldn't believe.
These are the two of the same. These two right here.
Yeah.
And then you got Houston. So Houston was a big influence heavy on when I first started. I was in Houston probably at least twice a month minimum. So I caught Pimp. I had that Pimp C interview when he first came home. So the internet has been watching a 10-minute clip what I have 2 hours of that one day I'll share with the world. But
all right. So let's
before you say what you're gonna say, can I just recognize the fact that your voice sounds very similar to a rapper / speaker who was just at Harvard not long ago. I just saw it for the first time in my entire life, despite being in this industry 20 years. But Ice-T.
Wow.
You sound a little bit like Ice-T.
You do have a little. Now that he says it, I can see it.
So as a child, it's funny because I've gotten that mostly from the white community. So as a kid, I was in Meco. And so I went to school in Sudbury.
Okay.
So
where are you from?
I'm from Roxbury, so
okay.
I would go to school in Sudbury every day. And the kids on the basketball team, everybody was like, "Yo, your dad looks just like Ice-T. Yo, your dad looks just like." Every kid on the team said, your dad," and I never seen that, but your dad looks just like Ice-T. Your dad So now in life, they say, yo, you look like Ice-T. You look like Ice-T. So I'm like,
but I'm saying you sound like Ice-T.
So yeah, that's even different. Like, man, you actually sound. I never heard sound.
You kind of do. Now I can't get it out of my head.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Wow, interesting. Well, thank you. That's sound like Ice-T.
Yeah, that's the OG right
Ice-T's one of the originators. And we're sitting with one of the originators right now.
In our industry.
I don't know if people know how important you probably are to this industry, because let's take it back. All right, you're from Roxbury. Introduction to hip hop.
Who, rest in peace, Uncle Mark. So Uncle Mark was my uncle, and he was more like a brother because he lived in my house, and he was my mother's youngest brother. So when he moved up from Connecticut, from Hartford, he was still in high school, and I was in elementary. So we lived in the same home.
How long are we talking? How far back?
This had to be like maybe 83, about 83, I would say, when they officially.
So the very beginning of it.
Yeah. So he was coming from Hartford, and coming from Hartford, he was a little bit closer to New York. So he was recording stuff on the radio that was coming from New York. So he was a little bit ahead of his time when it came. So he would come up here when he got to Boston, and everybody wanted to be next to him and see what he was doing for as far as what was going on in hip hop, just because he had an edge. And then his dad was a singer and had a band. They had a blues band, and they, so he came from music. So he eventually, they became a group. They would call Gangster Rock. They would go on to battle like Guru. He would be battling him. So I would see that as a young elementary student kid.
Oh shit!
And he would rap me to sleep. I remember he's like, man, I rapped you to sleep last night. So he just, the way he wore his shoelaces, the way he, he just had this style with him.
That's dope. Do you remember your first cassette?
It probably was an album. Probably wasn't a cassette. It was probably like a profile album, like
a vinyl.
Yeah, he's going way back.
So it wasn't a cassette. It was definitely an album first.
Do you know what one it was? Have any idea?
I would say it definitely Run DMC, because it definitely was a profile.
Dope.
So no, profile.
That's dope. So you hear
probably a single. It hardly wasn't a full album, just a single.
So you're introduced to hip hop. I'm going to assume that you're growing up hip hop your whole life. I mean, obviously you have a gold chain in your license photo. You know what I mean? You're obviously hip hop to the bones. I guess we can just get right into what was the inspiration for grabbing a camera? Because at the time when you grabbed a camera, there was no YouTube. Was there even an internet yet? Like there wasn't really where were you gonna put these videos?
There was no YouTube, so it was like this. It was distributed on DVD.
That's so. I mean, so
what year are we talking?
Yeah, what year are we talking? Like when you're starting this,
the concept came across in 03, and originally what it was going to be a magazine.
Okay.
So
at this time, the Source is out. I mean, XXL wasn't out yet.
So at this time, the Source is out. King Magazine is out.
Oh, okay.
And what is this magazine? It's called
There was Dime for a while. That was one of them.
Man.
There was no Double XL. There was no Elemental. No Mass Appeal.
Black Enterprise.
Okay.
So those were the three magazines that I really found a lot of interest in. So Cheddar was a combination. If you took hip hop, which was the Source, if you took girls, that was Kings. And if you took Black Enterprise, which is Black entrepreneurship, you took all that and you put it into it was supposed to be a magazine. But what happened was, we go back to the business. At the time, magazines were selling for $5, $5.99. By the time I pressed the magazine, it was cost me about $4. By the time I paid the staff to print a magazine, the writers and and to go out, photographers, I was my operating costs were looking kind of high, and then I needed a bigger staff. So I'm looking, and then I look at a DVD. Their retail was $20. At the time to manufacture a DVD, at that time it might have been about $3. So it just it just made sense to go find an editor and find a cameraman. Versus, because the profits were higher. So I came into being a DVD because I didn't know how to film. I didn't know how to edit.
That's what.
I paid for. I got those services.
That's dope.
Those services.
That's what I was gonna say. So you weren't even a guy that had like a camera. Like you were just a guy. Like it was more of a business move to make these DVDs. Not even like I was figuring that you were probably like the guy in the hood that always had the camera. There's always, you know what I mean? There's a guy like that that's always recording shit.
So at the time, I had a home in Taunton, a 5-family. I had a 3-family in Providence. I still was living in Roxbury. I always had a mobile food truck. I had a transportation company. And
damn,
I was like, I took maybe $30,000 out of my home in Providence, and I invested in this. So I think I spent like $20,000 on cameras, and $10,000 on like labor.
Dope.
And that's 20 and 10, 20 years ago. So that's
like 04, 03, 04.
Yeah.
So it was just a strictly business decision, which makes it even it makes it ill in a different way. You know what I'm saying? That you like saw an opening, saw like a need and a want, and was like, I'm gonna fill that.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So that's what it was. So it was like, how do you give back? How do you teach? How do you educate?
What was your first interview? Because I mean, you have a camera guy, and you're the one on camera doing the interviews.
So originally, I never really intended to be on camera.
Okay.
So I think we got to Atlanta, and it was like, well, somebody got to ask the questions. Like, oh. So my first interview, actually, that I remember that day, was at Walters in Atlanta, which is a sneaker shop very similar to like a Harry the Greeks in Boston.
Okay.
And it's funny because I just went to Walters in the summertime in August. And, I walk in there, and it's still like, yeah, I remember you. What's up? How you been? 20 years ago, there's like, same staff, same people. It's a beautiful culture. It's like if you know Atlanta, you know Walters.
You're making me miss Harry the Greeks right now.
So it's everything Harry the Greeks was, but times 10 because of their longevity.
Dope.
So yeah, shout out to Walters. That was probably one of my first interviews that I truly remember. As far as like superstars and like really having to say, like, yeah, I would say it was Ja Rule. Like a Ja Rule interview was probably like one of my first big interviews.
And how do you go, like, from someone just starting out, how do you go about like locking something like that down? How do you even get in the room of a Ja Rule?
So early on, it was just go where what was going on at. So, just kind of go to the action. So I would say the first volume, I went to like some car shows. I went to a couple of events, and I kind of got, I got some footage, and it came out good. The second time, I think I got better sense. And then on the second DVD, what you have Suge Knight on the cover.
Yeah, so, I wanted to talk about 94 Source Awards.
Yeah,
Suge Knight.
So that's the same time that I got the Ja Rule interview. But the Ja Rule interview was at the basketball arena during when they do the basketball game.
The celebrity game. So that was there, which was a Khaled, Lil Wayne. So I interviewed everybody that night, but no one was bigger than Ja Rule at that. Khaled wasn't nowhere near a Ja Rule. Lil Wayne wasn't nowhere near Ja Rule at that moment. Ja Rule was the biggest thing on earth at that moment. He
Ja Ruled the airwaves. He was definitely all over radio.
He was
the
biggest thing at that moment. So that was, he was even bigger than Suge Knight at that moment. So Suge Knight interview was just controversial, but none of those interviews happened without Benzino, because Benzino and Dave Mays, both of them are the ones who gave me the all access.
Oh.
So without that all access pass, I don't get those interviews. Okay. So once that Suge Knight cover came out, it was very controversial. So, I was getting feedback from everyone, from a cousin to my friends in Virginia, to Atlanta, to DC, to New
York. Are you friends to this day with Benzino and Dave Mays?
Don't start going there. He's gonna get this guy off track. This guy's dying.
I have to know. This is, I mean.
Well, no, but I mean, we gotta first, okay, so you're starting. You're getting the interviews. You just threw me off track. You're getting the interviews. You're in Atlanta. You're getting interviews. You're
When I was in Boston, I started this in Boston. So, and then I moved to Atlanta. So like when we look at this Jewels, I want to say this DVD I was still in Boston. I still had a studio in Boston at this time.
Okay.
So I don't even think I started filming till after this. So my cameraman couldn't make it to a show, so I just went to, it was Mixtape Awards. And when I came back from the Mixtape Awards, the editor was like, my brother Linwood. He said, I was like, oh, it's horrible. He said, man, this is the best footage I ever seen in my life. I was like, he was like, I've never seen no one get this type of access. And the reason why, I just didn't allow anyone to tell me no. So if it was Game, I was like this in his face. If it was Common, you're not gonna. It was K Slave, it was Diddy, whoever was in the building that night, it was not gonna tell me no. So by this time, I can call up management, I can call up, and I can get access to any event. But once you get to the event, it's up to you to actually obtain the type of the content that you want to obtain.
See, now we're listening to this through a lens of 2024. Okay, because when you're talking about this, you're talking about cameras.
I'm talking about a big camera with a
camera
big
light on it and shit.
You gotta make sure you're in focus. So,
25 pounds, 30 pound cameras?
So, yeah, you're talking about multiple gadgets that go on.
And you're also talking about, no one had this idea really yet. Like, I mean, there was Smack DVD, obviously. But, like, around that time, Van, like, those were the kind of, like... When you bought CDs, like you bought all the CDs, and that was like you bought these DVDs. Like Hush is a little younger; he's like in his 30s. He doesn't really remember that era, but like that was a huge before like YouTube, before even like what was Conjunction Junction and like the sites on the internet that came out first that were the host like College Humor and there's a few of them. You know what I'm talking about? Like that came out, but you were even doing it before then. Like you were recording videos with literally nowhere to put them except on DVDs.
Oh yeah, because I remember
it's crazy when you think about that.
I asked a gentleman like, can I put a trailer on my page? He was like, it will crash your page.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So the first place we could probably really put some type of digital, I wouldn't even call it. I wouldn't even say content. It was like. You could use MySpace because you could put some type of something that was digitized on MySpace. But before that, we really didn't have that access. Well,
this guy had undergroundhiphop.com, so he's kind of in the same situation where like you guys were making YouTube videos before YouTube wasn't even a thought.
We were making them for the undergroundhiphop.com website.
I think that's the problem. You're calling it a YouTube video. Why is it a YouTube
video? Because I'm talking through the lens of a 2024 is why I'm talking.
Yeah. No, I would just say we was creating content.
But there was no way to even host this. This is before social media. This is before like even the internet.
So don't you think that was better?
Oh yeah. No, I do.
Because now we get a real true share of like. The consumer really can choose what they want. Now in today's world, if I just have a better photo, a better tagline, then you win. And you could be God, you could be AI, you could not even be real. Versus someone who's really producing great content.
I'm with you, and I'm just like I'm more touching.
Although if you have great content, that is the stuff that goes viral, like the Shay Shay interview with fucking
Cat Williams,
yeah.
But I'm just more touching on the thought process of like the entrepreneurial mind that you're thinking of stuff that before it's even a thing. Because like people would think you were crazy back in the day to carry a big camera around like, no, I'm going to do this DVD company and it's going to make money. And people are like, you're out of your fucking mind, dude. You just wasted $30,000. Like that's what people are going to say. But
sort of back then they were also like, wow, you have like professional equipment.
Yeah,
you can go anywhere. Nowadays, everyone's their own videographer. So now you're in a sea of fucking piranhas.
So I'll tell you one more thing that kind of helped me. What gave me the really gold pass? I went to African American Black Film Festival.
Okay.
And in that they had an event that was hosted by like HBO and BET. And in that event, I ended up with an HBO and a BET lanyard.
Oh.
So I always kept a HBO lanyard with me wherever I went. So. Exactly. So certain things just like I got a big camera, I got this lanyard, I got an HBO lanyard. You're not telling me no. And I'm never looking back like I don't belong. I'm always just going in as though like if y'all don't get out my way, like I'm never waiting in line. I'm never waiting. You
don't have that questioning
I'm not
look.
asking. I'm just going.
Very congruent.
I get it, and like that's like it's a mentality of the internet these days. But you're like it's cool to me. When people think of fads and trends and shit before it happens, like, because obviously that's what everyone does now. Like, that's the way. You know what I'm saying? But you're 25 years ago doing this shit, 30 years ago doing this shit when, like, it just was, there wasn't even a place for it. People are still saying that rap is rap and it's a fad at this point in time. It's not going to last. You know what I mean? People are still, it's not mainstream yet. It's not in Super Bowl commercials. It's not like really in movies yet. You know what I mean? It's still like a very underground like culture thing at this point in time. It's just really cool to me that have like an entrepreneurial mind.
This is 2004. It wasn't underground.
But it wasn't a $1 trillion industry yet.
This was 2004, right?
Yeah. 04,
okay.
It's on.
I started filming people for undergroundhiphop.com in 05, 06. So I was a year after you. Totally different climate. You're the only one with a camera.
So
that's what I'm saying.
But I had distribution.
And how'd you figure that out?
Yeah, how did you?
You know?
So my background probably was like, that was something that saved me, I would say. There was once I had 2,500 DVDs, I couldn't wait to get on the road. I couldn't wait to go.
You mean you have 2,500 those copies?
Once I had my first 2,500, I couldn't wait to get on the road and sell them.
To sell them, okay, yeah, all right.
Once and my volume 1, I ran through the first 2,500. I go to press another 2,500.
So you're master P'ing it at this point in time.
Oh, excuse me.
You're master P'ing it. You're just like selling them out the trunk of your car. Out the trunk of your car.
Yeah, but now for volume 1, yeah, definitely. But I'm going to stores. I'm going to stores.
No, that's dope. That's dope. No, that's respectably and dope.
Wait, and did volume 1 have any big names on it?
Lloyd Banks was on the cover.
Oh, okay.
So Lloyd Banks was on the cover. Russell
My
Simmons
favorite
was on there. I think.
You said Russell Simmons?
Yeah, he was on there. It was.
All right, so you got some huge names.
Yeah, it wasn't garbage. It was.
I mean, Lloyd Banks in 2004. That's gold.
Huge.
Are you kidding me? That's G Unit era.
It was put together decent. It wasn't like Volume 2. Volume 2 was pretty like, whoa, okay.
Wait, how'd you get Lloyd Banks at the height of G Unit?
He came to Madison Park High School with Russell Simmons because they were doing a Get Out the Vote campaign, and I just caught him in the hallway.
So when you say you caught him in the hallway, like you just showed up, you got your lanyard on, your big camera, and you're not taking no as an answer.
Exactly.
Now I like to think he's walking around a high school now with the HBO lanyard on, and like HBO has nothing to do with this, but you just got the camera and the HBO lanyard, so people are like, fuck it, is HBO filming this shit?
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Michael Eisner, motherfucker.
Honestly, we should get Big Dookie Chain lanyards and
that's
HBO,
what I have a bunch of them,
lanyards.
Yeah, we
should start just taking some of those lanyards and wearing them.
Yeah.
Look way more official.
I used to work at Fenway Park, and I used to do like the shit with the pictures, like the thing. I was the guy who printed them. But anyways, they had the yellow shirt that lets you in like the gate, so you could walk in with your bag in that yellow shirt on. They'd open your bag, they'd look at it, they close your bag, and you'd walk in. Now you're in Fenway Park with a fucking backpack. You know what I'm saying? You take that fucking yellow shirt off, throw it in your backpack, and now you're like in a concert. You're in Derek Jeter's final game. You're in the World Series. Are you saying you
snuck the camera in?
No, I wasn't doing cameras at the time, but John Mooney was, and I gave the shirt to him after a while. But I would just go to like concerts, like, and just bring a bunch of weed and shit. Yeah, and like when I wasn't working, you know what I mean. But that was the same idea. You just walk in like you belong. Like you walk in with the shirt and you fucking open your bag, and now you're in a concert. Now you're backstage because people think you. People talk about the Green Monster smoking weed and shit because people thought I was supposed to be up there. You know what I mean? Like that kind of shit.
When you act like you're supposed to be in certain rooms, everything changes. Oh, definitely. But you have to actually believe that you're going to get there. Because I've been out doing like video with people who are just like too scared. So they're like, can I or may I? Or like they're moving in a way that makes them look like they're up to something. They shouldn't be.
Do you have an interview that sticks out that you were proud of?
I think I'm proud of all of them, to be honest. But proud of
one interview that you might have got that you were like, holy shit, how the fuck did I pull that off?
I would say sometimes I look back and I didn't know what I was doing.
What do you mean by that?
Because I was moving at such a pace I didn't even understand what I was doing.
You mean you were getting like
So I'll look at footage. And I'll say this DVD at this moment, this is in Vegas at Champs. No, not Champs, at Magic that week. And I just actually seen the raw footage. And for the first time, I saw that, like, man, I'm standing there with the RZA having an interview in front of Wu-Tang clothing, and we're talking about clothing, and I had no idea I had this interview. or I have an interview with LRG, the founder, Jones. He's the founder of LRG. Rest in peace to Jones. He really gave Kanye so much information about clothing, and I kind of seen and witnessed that. And he just knew so much about the industry and how to create, like how to sell a brand and how to place your brand and actually put your brand strategically in certain places so people want it. So just kind of seeing things that not knowing where I was and what I was a part of at that moment.
When we met you up in Boston a couple weeks back, you told us a little bit of a couple stories about how you have some iconic moments. You've been a part of some iconic moments. Can you share some of those moments with us? Like that you personally have on camera.
Pimp C coming home from prison. I would say that's like.
Yeah. So how did you get that one? You didn't just show up.
So that one's a little different. So as time evolved, you guys started getting. I've just got access. That was volume 2. By volume 3. So by this volume, people are they know who I am. So by this time, Rap-A-Lot actually inviting me out, and I'm sitting with Bun B in the studio, and I got the camera on the podcast on a tripod, and we're having one-on-one conversation.
Yeah.
So he's in the studio making hits. Same thing with Shorty Low. By the time we're there, it's come on in, bring the cameras. So once I was established of who I was and what I was doing, people welcomed me in the cameras. But I just had to sneak in the back door. But once I got in, I was in. But the Pimp C interview, what happened is Houston was so relevant in hip hop. And one thing I had probably that was my advantage is from the day I was born, my mother was a flight attendant. So I could go to the airport and go to any city at any time I wanted to.
We need this.
Yeah, that's definitely.
We need your mother.
Time I wanted to. So I didn't have a buddy pass. I just had a pass. Mm-hmm. And I knew how to use that from the age of 8. So in '85, I was going to Howard homecomings. So at an early age, in the early '80s, I had already been in Cali so many times with my mom. I had flew in the front of the cockpit. I remember one time she let me snuck me in the bathroom because there wasn't enough seats. I was on the plane. She got me on the plane, was going to Cali, but she's like, "Oh, sit in the bathroom while we take off." And then later on, they figured something out, and I sat here. Then she just shuffled me around because she's stopping from state to state.
But that's wild on an airplane.
Yeah, so this is like late '70s, early '80s. So like I just grew up on planes.
Wait, were they still smoking cigarettes on planes?
Definitely, definitely smoking cigarettes on planes. All heavily. So I just that was my advantage. So and I knew how to travel. If my mother wanted to go somewhere, she would say, set me up the flight, because I knew how to book the flights better than she could. And she worked as a flight attendant. So
wait, how old were you when you started the Cheddar, the DVD, the interviews on camera?
So by then I'm early 30s.
Early 30s.
Yeah.
But you still have this, like you can go anywhere in the
she
U.S.
was still a flight attendant. Yeah. She was still. So she didn't stop becoming a flight attendant till, man. When I was done with Cheddar, she still had passes.
So there's no problem. Bring your cameras, everything.
Oh,
you could go anywhere in the U.S.
Anywhere in the U.S.
Come on.
Anywhere in the U.S.
Yeah, you had the golden pass.
Anywhere in the U.S.
That's
so I
crazy.
could go 3 cities a week easily.
Wow.
Easily, and I would go 3 cities a week. So sometimes I had a Cheddar vehicle. I might drive it to one city, drop it, go to Cali, Vegas, and Houston, then fly back to pick up the car in another city, and then drive it back to Atlanta.
Let me ask you, how did you stay professional and on your purpose? Or how many times did you just get caught up in the party? You're able to go to every event.
I never got caught up in the party.
You never did?
So, like I said, I own some property.
Okay.
So, owning property, I was young. So,
yeah, you might.
I was young, and I looked young. I looked really young. I was like late 20s. And I remember the first time going to pick up the rent, there was this Dominican woman. She was really nice, very looking like. And I go, and she has a robe on, and she like, come make some coffee. And I was just like, there's no way I'm not leaving out here without my rent money. You know, so there was no way there was no enticing of not me. I knew what I was coming for. I was coming for my rent money, and that was it. I wasn't coming for anything else.
Right, but that's coming for rent money. When you're,
but I'm saying, but I knew that at 28.
Yeah.
So at 28, with that mentality, I still took it. I'm coming so. You know how a guy, he goes to a club and he like, I met the baddest chick. Look, I got her number. I got the best interview. That's what's gonna excite me. The baddest chick is not gonna excite me. I have a wife. I have kids. I'm not looking for the baddest chick. I'm looking for the best interview.
That was my problem. I wanted the best interview, but I also wanted to get smashed and smash. Those two things don't always.
Yeah, so there was not gonna stop.
Did you always? So were you your own cameraman a lot of the times?
So. Once I got to maybe volume 4, by this time I'm cameraman. By this time I'm not. So somewhere in between there.
So by volume 4 you've got a cameraman. Okay.
I am a cameraman by volume 4.
You are a
cameraman by volume 4.
Okay. Because I would think it would go the other way around. Because like doing an interview while holding the camera, that double duty is not easy.
No, after that, that was what I was doing. I was here. Sometimes I would give somebody a mic, or I would just hold. I was just on the job training.
By any means necessary. It just, there are people out there that say, like, I'm not going to take no for an answer.
Yeah.
Just sitting with you for 20 minutes. I'm someone that doesn't take no for an answer.
Yeah, he's another one.
You're me times 5, like times 10. This guy, like, which is a great thing. But I get that there's people that say they're about it, and there's people that actually fucking do it. He's someone that actually. Well,
I would never take no for an answer, but I'd also be drunk, and my cameraman would be high as shit. That was like my key to never taking no for an answer. Now that I'm sober, it's like a whole different ball game.
So early on, I remember, like, I told you we had a big camera bag. Mm-hmm. We wanted to sneak a bottle of liquor in, but it was stupid because we really didn't drink.
Yeah.
So Lynn and I just started drinking bottles of water in because I didn't want to spend money on bottles of water at the bar because it was like $6 and $7. So, it was like, so that's kind of where I was. And then what I would do is I wouldn't smoke weed until I got what I wanted. There was no smoking weed during work.
Okay.
No smoking weed until that interview is done, that camera's put away, and you got what you want.
Okay.
You're not smoking weed until that camera's packed up. Batteries better be dead.
and you're a weed head because
I'm a serious pothead.
So he's like, I'm fucking getting this goddamn interview so I can smoke my motherfucking weed.
But this is what I don't understand. Like, say if someone calls you up and says, some corporate company say, hey, I need you over here for 10 hours. Can you show up at 8 a.m. and I need you till about 6 p.m. and we're gonna pay you $500 for the day. Are you gonna show up, do a job? You gonna smoke weed?
Right.
No, right? But if you show up for your own self and for 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. you're gonna smoke weed, so you're gonna give somebody else better energy than you're gonna give yourself. I don't fucking understand that shit.
I agree with that.
How can you give a company 100% of you, and then on your own time you're not gonna give yourself 100% of you?
And there's the clip right there.
Right there.
That's the self-help.
Well,
right there.
I got a question then, because if you don't
makes sense.
If you don't smoke weed until you get the interview you're looking for, you also have what you're smoking on television. So, on what you're smoking on television, I've seen a couple of the interviews. I'm pretty sure you're smoking weed during the interviews. Danny Danko?
So that was created differently. So that was.
I'm only fucking.
That's
different. Why are you bringing up old shit?
No, that's a different, because you're talking about going to work.
Right.
At this point in time, like this right here, we're already at work.
Yes.
So the job isn't going to get the interview. The job is where the interview's already done.
I see what you're saying.
So
loopholes.
Job, yeah.
Have you had any artists or management get in contact with? I'm sure you have. Get in contact with you after an interview and be like, "Don't air that." And how did you deal with it? Yeah, I see a smile. You know.
All I can say is media comes with a lot of integrity. And if you don't have respect and integrity, then you're going to fail. And I think and maybe in today's world, maybe you won't fail because people just want to see and they chase anything. But to be in the journalist world is respect and integrity. And a lot of times, the one thing I see in today's world that I really, really, really dislike is when someone's speaking and you know they're going too far and you let them go. Just stop them. Just stop them.
You're talking about Drink Champs. We're right back at Benzino.
No, I'm not. I'm actually not talking about Drink Champs. I'm talking about when I'm talking going too far, not as far as what you're saying to the public. When only thing I say going too far when you're incriminating yourself. If you're going too far and you're talking about incriminating yourself, at that time, just stop. Just stop someone. Just stop someone. If they're going at someone or talking about somebody, there's not so much you could do about that, because it's their personal opinion. But when you're talking about crime and criminal activity, I think that's the one thing I say you really should, because they just don't want to be there.
Has there ever been times you've had to do that?
Several times. But I'm like, you can't do that.
See, I would always be like, this is the gold. And I'd keep pushing it down that path.
And that's what people would tell me. So one time I had this guy, he was like, yeah, go get some more money. And he was like, what? I'm like, what you doing? He's like, nah, I'm going to go. I was like, well, he's like, go get like 200,000. I was like, no, I'm not going to let you show 200,000. I'm just not going to let you. He's like, what y'all got? What you got? They pulled out like 30,000.
I would let them go to 200,000.
That's what everyone else told me, but I wouldn't. I just wouldn't.
I mean,
like
because
the 30,000 was just what they had, and that's all they had just in their pocket.
No, I'm just confused. Why wouldn't you let them go to 200,000? Why wouldn't you let somebody incriminate themselves? I could understand it for only one reason. If you think that you're going to get that call to block the interview, and then you'll never be able to interview them or anybody they're associated with again.
No, because I'm hurting them. Why would I put them in the like? I just feel like it's just like I'm hurting that individual.
So everyone you're interviewing, you're looking at like, if this is my friend, I want to treat them like that.
Nah, it's just at certain times you just have to have a certain respect to saying, nah, you're just going too far. You're just doing too much.
This is the opposite ethos of everybody out especially now in the days where you want to go viral.
So I would say with women, I had a thing of like, I would go as far as just penetration. I would not show anything of penetration. I was at a Luke party, and it just got out of hand. I had to take the footage and I sold it to someone. I was like, I can't use this. I just can't. There's no way I can show this footage. It's just against everything I go against. There's penetration. I can't show. It was a great show. I loved everything about it, but it was like I said, I had too much respect from what my brand was. My brand wouldn't. I just didn't. It wasn't about that. I told you it was about money, girls being sexy, but not girls being raunchy and disrespectful. That was just too far.
All right, so what's one of the craziest things that you just said you're filming and there's sex going on, and this isn't like somebody's bedroom. This is like a party.
Yeah, but it's a Luke party though. So I mean,
it was
a Luke party and there wasn't sex going on. I'd be like,
I mean, this is a 2 Live Crew party. There's a train going on.
Yeah. That's what I would expect.
Right. I don't think anything could get crazier than that.
Joe Pro.
If I went to like a Luke party and there wasn't a train going on and there wasn't pussy everywhere, you'd be like, where the fuck am I? This isn't a Luke party.
But I don't think there's anywhere you can go from there. Like a 2 Live Crew running a train is about it. Like, I can't think of something crazier that someone could do that I could witness. But I know I'm probably wrong. There's other stuff out there. So what's one other time where you've been like, damn? Is this really happening? I was shocked one time when I went to a necro. He was hosting a show. I mean, he was performing at a strip club, and they were letting me film in the strip club. So I was like, whoa.
There was one time where these gentlemen, they had some guns, and I could have said no, and I allowed it. Looking back, I probably wish I would have said no.
Were you one of those guys that let them point the guns at the camera while you were holding it? Somebody's behind this camera. I know that. I can't believe people do that.
That's happened to me several times.
I bet, yeah, because people seem to do that.
In Chicago and Cabrini Green Projects.
Oh fuck!
And the dude is just like, yeah, I'm like, yo, I had to do it calmly, like, Yeah, because he's a
Yeah, well,
certified
you're-
gangster. He's
you're in Cabrini Green.
I'm like, yeah,
They tore that motherfucker down.
This was the little part though. The big part, yeah, they had already tore it. It was built. It was boarded up, but they were still active.
That's I mean, I can understand. I wouldn't be there. So
well, yeah, you're there with a camera.
A camera.
So, extremely expensive camera. So, weren't you ever worried about getting robbed?
Nah, I was always just worried about getting home every night. Like every show, just make sure I made it home safe. I was never really about getting robbed.
So, did anyone ever try to steal the camera equipment from you? No. Okay.
Like one thing I understood at early ages is wherever you go with respect. Mm-hmm. And just understand how to move. So I understood how to move at a really early age.
Were there times when rappers have pulled out guns and you have been like stopping the footage and like, we got to put those away?
I've been in shootouts with a kid, but once they start shooting, you trying to just get safe. You're not trying to. You're not like, let me film. You're trying to like, you ducking. You're like, what? And once the guns go off, you're just trying to be safe at that moment. So I've been in a few of those, yeah.
Right, like I've accidentally like filmed a murder, and then it's like, what the fuck do I do?
He's not being serious. He was, being.
What? I'm being serious.
Are you filmed a murder?
Oh, I shouldn't be serious about that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's like stuff like that. Like when you have a camera everywhere you go, and stuff's popping off all the time because you're in party environments. It's just like, I mean, it can be scary.
After a while, you must just get used to it because, like, my little work with the camera, like, anytime you point a camera at somebody, it's like just a fucking automatic turn up. Like,
right.
They go from 0 to 1,000, like, immediately.
That's when the guns come out in a lot of cases.
So I can only imagine, like, just...
And you're going to the actual projects.
Well, yeah, that was... But I was with, I didn't dare...
He's not going there alone.
With a camera. Nah, it didn't happen like that.
Okay.
I went with the proper folks.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, you have to go with someone that lives there, obviously.
So,
yeah,
I went with the proper people.
It's like you don't...
Yeah.
So is it safe to say that the interviews for Cheddar DVD and the interviews for What You're Smoking On are a completely different thing?
No, it's all the same.
All the same?
Yeah, to some degree, like, it's a lifestyle. So, like, the lifestyle, What You're Smoking On is just part of the same lifestyle.
Well, I wouldn't think that there's shootouts during What You're Smoking On.
There's not shootouts on Cheddar. You can't see a shootout.
Yeah,
Cheddar,
you know what I'm saying, though.
But so like we can still go to a pop-up event and they can get to shooting.
That's true.
But it's still just it's the lifestyle. So it's more of a, like, I think if you try to separate the two, you know why I am who I am. So just accept my lifestyle, and I would just rather bring you my lifestyle versus try to making all these separate entities and saying this one. This is just a lifestyle.
Especially since you're just jet setting around the country. Anywhere you want to go, you can get there free.
I don't have that pass anymore. So
I was gonna see you got +1, +2, +3.
I lost that pass. Like I remember I did the Urban Media Awards in Miami in 2013, and during the awards, that's when I lost my pass, and I found out like I was getting ready to go for like a pre-con event, a pre-con meetings, and I went and I was like, what? She was like, I called my mom. I was like, hey, what happened? She was like, oh, it's all over. Basically, you know, because she had been retired for a while. She was like, oh, you get that go through this.
Caught up.
But I was just moving so fast. I just had to book tickets.
What's more important nowadays, would you say? I know it's a different game with DVDs, but speed versus taking your time and like putting quality work out. Because sometimes I feel like you have to choose.
What's more important for what?
To build a brand.
What type of brand are you trying to build?
A successful one.
Successful, what type?
So the Big Dookie Chain, I think we would like to have our first million subscribers. Yeah, exactly. A successful podcast.
So it's the rinse and repeat idea. Whatever you do, I think is like, so if you want to do something great, you have to learn how to do it over and over again.
That's why I keep telling Tash, system, or he keeps telling me I can't remember.
So how do we reach 200 people? And once you kind of figure that out, then you kind of recreate it again.
Double down on whatever works.
And I would say if you try to go after everyone and to reach those 200 people, you're not going to just reach them online. You have to do other things. You have to do things offline, online. You have to do a variety of things to reach.
The point is you got to do things.
Yeah, you have to do exactly,
and you have to live it. You said it's like a lifestyle. It's all the time.
But a lot of it that people miss too is strategic partnerships. That's how you go fast. If you want to move fast, you have to have strategic partners. Because if you don't, you're doing all the lifting.
The alley-oop.
Strategic partners meaning, man, like I had some great, like Core DJs was a great strategic partner for me. So I was there.
Who were they?
The Core DJs has over 900 DJ memberships right now. They're the biggest DJ membership pool in the nation.
Okay.
So I was their official videographer, official video media crew.
Okay.
So I had access to every DJ. So that by this time I'm just recording all the DJs.
And how did that door get opened? Like, what did you do?
Shouts out to Tony Nail. I met Tony Nail in Milwaukee, and then by the time he's been in Miami, he's Miami DJ now, he was there prior. I met him in Milwaukee because he's from there, but he'd always been back and forth. But he had this coalition called the Core DJs. And just from, what I was doing and him seeing me going, I went to an event from there. It just turned in.
So do you recommend going to just as many events as possible, networking as much as possible in person?
I would say networking definitely in just knowing where you want to go, where you want to place your brand. You know what I mean? Like where does my brand fit? You just can't chase everybody, but kind of strategically place it where it makes the most sense and try to work with that group in some strategic form.
I just saw that. I saw this on your Instagram, and we had glossed over it. But the Suge Knight thing, you were at the Source Awards,
yes,
with Suge Knight, and that was on the cover of Cheddar DVD. I don't remember which volume, but what was it like interviewing Suge Knight?
Classic.
I bet.
Epic. He seemed like in real life, Suge seemed larger than life. He seemed bigger than life. He seemed like just, wow, this is Suge Knight. Like you see this dude, you see how everyone's around him. They just, everyone's like this, and he's just like the Dawn, smoking a cigar. Everyone's just, wants to stay close, trying to get next to him. And that's one of those moments, like, you're going to get Suge Knight. So that same weekend as Ja Rule is like, there goes Suge, here's my chance. And I just went at him. And if you watch the interview, you could see it gets controversial.
What happens in the interview?
At the interview, one thing I do like about the interview, so we're talking business. It's like, I say, man, I like what you're doing as a businessman. He's like, yeah, one thing I can tell you, I'm the only man who owns all his masters. So this time he owned all those Death Row masters. He's telling us this in 2004. I'm the only one who owns all my masters. So I'm like respecting him, showing him, as a businessman. So the mic is kind of close. He's like, yo, you trying to violate me with that mic. You got it too close to my mouth. You know what I mean? Basically,
Yeah.
So then Petey Pablo comes in, I'm sorry. And he's like, what's going on over here? Remy's in the background, and then it's Shauna. I call her something different other than Shauna. He's like, he self-corrects me again, and she kind of comes in. So it's like, it gets loud, and it gets, so it's just great content. But he lights his cigar, and then afterwards, we kind of sidebar, and he just gives me the nod. Like one thing I understood at that moment was Suge Knight was extreme. That was the media. He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing. He did that. He did that. First, he probably did that to see how it was built. Secondly, he did that because he knew he needed that. Like a little bit of controversy helps. So he knew exactly what he was doing. So he loved the cover when it finally came out. He loved everything about it. So he knew exactly what he was doing. So when I look back, I said, man, he's extremely smart. He knew how to strategically place himself to keep himself and relevant.
Well, I was going to ask, how you do the interview in person, are you allowed to just put him on the cover, or do you have to get some things signed off on to do that?
So that cover right there, we were just going because that was only the second issue. By these covers, I'm taking all these pictures. So by this time, I got a digital camera and I'm taking all these photos. So I own all these photos. But prior, like I say, our first, so that's volume 3, yeah. So by our first 2 volumes, we were just like mixtape cover, whatever you can find, pull a picture, whatever.
Okay.
And we just happened to find a picture with him smoking a cigar. I didn't even find the picture. I don't know. Shout out to the kid who did it because he did it.
So it wasn't actually from the interview, the picture that was used on the cover. Got it.
Are you still doing Cheddar DVD?
No,
it's been a while.
Yeah, I haven't done a DVD.
Do you have them all?
Yes.
Okay.
So but you're still doing audio video work. You're still creating content.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So you've parlayed, because now you have. I want to talk a little bit about what you're smoking on television. Mm-hmm. You said Cheddar DVD was girls, business, and hip hop. What you're smoking on?
What you smoking on? So what you smoking on was a spinoff from Cheddar, and what happened was, I would go city to city. So every time I got to somebody, if you want to smoke their weed, you'd be like, yo, what you smoking on? And holding my camera, I say, what you smoking on? You gonna give me some of it, and you gonna get to talk. So if I get you to talk and give me some of your weed, but what happened was, I'm like, this is getting trendy. So now I showed, this is what they're smoking on in Ohio. This is smoking on in Atlanta. This is what they're smoking on in LA. This is what they're smoking on in the Bay. So you just started singing, and this is early. This is before there's no. This is just so early. People aren't even really talking about weed.
Are you carrying the camera for Cheddar still, or you just carrying?
This is Cheddar. This is before the first. So this is What You Smoking On DVD. If you look it up, there's an actual DVD. So I have Cheddar DVD series called Industry Chicks, and it's just girls.
Oh, okay, I see.
This Cheddar DVD series called What You Smoking On. So that was a DVD series,
which have turned into a whole.
And I just took the What You Smoking On and created this weed. So, but it was basically a byproduct of Cheddar.
And when did you make that flip?
So in 2009, I did one What You Smoking On DVD. Let's pull up the cover. I wish I had one. It's called What You Smoking On. I'll pull it up for you. And then basically I took those What You Smoking On. I was asking Cam what he was smoking on, Jim Jones what he was smoking on, Snoop what he was smoking on, Rick Ross, Jeezy. So everyone I had access to, not only am I doing an interview with you, but I'm doubling down with you on a weed interview.
Smart.
So from there.
And you're getting free weed.
Yes. And so from there, it's like, okay, I see what's going on in the country now. Weed is legal. The first thing I do is I go to Cali. Who do I go to Amsterdam, and I go to the Bay. And I go to this kid. He has a store, and I meet him. He has a strain called the Last Girl Scout. His name is Burner.
I was gonna say, yeah.
So that's when I first meet Burner.
And this is
yeah, because Burner comes to Atlanta now. And he sees me at Mansion. He's like, yo.
So if people don't know who Burner is, though.
Thank you. Everybody's running up on me. Thank you. He's so happy because that's one of the products that introduced him and what he was doing to the world.
I actually do know
who Burner is. Okay, so I'm not
weirdly,
sure.
That's like the one
I'm not sure if people
know
Burner is. So Burner was someone that was moving packs, obviously, illegally, and now is in the legal game and everything with cookies. So he's a legacy guy, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So it was Girl Scout cookies.
Girl Scout cookies. Yeah, which is wild.
So, but of course, you can't have the name Girl Scout. So once he got to taking his brand all the way to the top, which he has done, that was cookies. So salutes to Burner and what he's done over there with cookies.
And he's like that's probably the first national weed brand.
Oh, definitely.
Cookies, yeah.
Most well known.
Yeah, well, yeah.
By far. If we're talking music, he's Def Jam.
Yeah, because High Times is obviously a national brand, but when Cookies came, that kind of
But High Times is a publication. Company.
Cookies started as it was a store or just a strain.
So I want to say he was a strain technically because the store was not called Cookies, but he came across that strain, and once he came across that strain and pushed that strain, it was over.
But he had a store too, so he wasn't a felon. He was in the drug game before it was legal.
Exactly. So he had access to a store. If you watch What You Smoking On, if you actually go to WYSO TV, there's an episode.
Yeah, I've watched it. Some of it.
It's called Cookies. The making of cookies, and in that episode, it's the breakdown of Burner and him. It's 30 minutes of him actually at that store, and you get to see that actual store and what was going on. They was actually smoking in the store. They was selling bud in the store, and it was cool. Shouts out to the Jacker because the Jacker, rest in peace. He's the one who brought me to Burner. So the Jacker, we go to Green Door. He's like, yo, let's go smoke some weed. We couldn't smoke the weed at the Green Door. So that's why we hitting up at Burner's spot, because we could smoke weed over there. So we went over there, and that's where I met Burner. So rest in peace to Jacka.
And then like from that's all dope.
Mr. Lee.
That's real dope shit. And then Mr. Lee, that's Drink Champs, right?
No, not that one.
No, it's a different one.
Mm-hmm.
So you're the first one. Obviously, you said it's the compilation of things. What does it turn into now? Because it's a little bit different than that now when I go on the website.
So now it's the same thing. So in that you was learning like where to go get, how to grow, what was going on just in cannabis. So it's the same thing, what's going on in cannabis.
I see a lot of like long form interviews on there and stuff. It's pretty dope. It's pretty.
But they were so the same thing, same. It can be short, it can be long, but I think it's more about just the lifestyle of cannabis, because I think cannabis is more than just like weed smoking now. I think it's more of like hip hop and cannabis have such a relationship that they merge so well. So like you can't go in a room full of hip hop heads and not expect to smoke cannabis. You're gonna smell cannabis. So they're just like, you could probably smell cannabis before you see a drink. You see. So it's just something that goes so much with the culture that you can't stop that. Having
all like the access that you get, what's like some of the coolest or craziest shit you've seen like in the cannabis space? Like like one of your favorite thing or.
I don't know. The cannabis space is interesting. The cannabis space. So for me, I naturally like to give put people in a position where they can win. Like if I learn something, I want to share information. I want to share information where people can be successful. So like Cheddar was about sharing information where people can be successful. I feel like when I got into cannabis thinking that, okay, once I get in, I'm going to be able to help a bunch of people and put them in position. I don't feel like there's enough money in cannabis. It's not structured to really help people. So I feel as though I can help people in the media world more than in the cannabis world. And that's what my split is. So I'm burning at both ends of the candle. So I'm staying in media and I'm staying in cannabis, but the media world is where I help feed more families. I feed way more families in media than I do in cannabis. So that's the sad part, because I expected it to be the opposite. Is that going to change though in the future, because you are opening a dispensary in South Station? Firebrand? I don't think working at a dispensary is not enough to feed families. So that's not a position I can introduce you to give you a start into the industry, but I can't put you in a dispensary and help you feed your family. Really, I can give you a decent job, but that's probably for a person, with not a bunch of kids. But that's not a place where someone could, it's more like I could start you in this industry. So if you want to get into the industry and you're between the ages of 18 and 28, yeah, it's probably a good startup. But if you're older and you're looking for a more structured way of making a living, there's way more money in media than there is in cannabis. We're definitely going to have a talk off camera about that, because that's what we're trying to do. But we don't want to bore everybody. It's super interesting. Obviously, it's the entrepreneurial mind. But man, look at media. Look how it's grown. Look at the streaming platforms. Look at what they're doing today. Look like everything you do. Look at all these cameras. Look how many cameras you have in here. We got some weed, but look how many media devices we have in here right now. How many things have we streamed? Yeah, we're not going to talk about how much weed we have in here. There's not enough weed. We could definitely use a little more, but hey, it is what it is. Where is my weed? Speaking of weed, but we're past the mark. You can smoke now. It's the first 15 minutes in YouTube you can't smoke. All right. Yeah, but I don't want to smoke anyways, because I like to be clear-headed. Yeah, we're way past that.
And now there's going to be now they got the Google glasses, so everything is going to be a camera.
So that's all, and a lot of it. What I've learned to tap into is I've learned the corporate side of media. So like for the first 2003 to 2013, it was all just me being out here grinding, learning what I learned as I go, develop myself as a brand. Now I've learned what corporations are looking for, as far as producing live events, as far as project managing their whole corporate and their whole media end, because there was a time when everybody wanted to be a what would we call this? Someone help with their software when your IT. There was a time when IT was number one. IT doesn't
now it's media.
Nothing now in corporate America. Can you fix my Zoom? Or can you make my printer work? That's the difference.
Yeah.
They want their Zoom fixed. They don't want their fucking printer. Excuse my language. They don't want their printer. I'm pretty sure they can airdrop right now. That they figured that out. But the media part, and it's only gonna get, like you said, there's goggles. Where that's gonna go? What do you think? Corporate America doesn't want to be next in where media is going. They always want to be at the top.
You've probably gotten job offers to do full time for different companies, right?
Oh, I work for multiple media companies.
Oh, you work
for multiple contracts.
But you're still your own boss.
Yeah, I got.
You just have contracts.
Yeah,
with
I'm a
these.
private contract.
Okay.
Multiple private companies.
But have you ever worked for somebody else full time?
Right now, I have a contract where I'm an employee with a contractor, and it's interesting because it's the first time. Like, I can always still say no, but it's interesting because I'm like, man, I don't like being an employee. I love when I'm being, but
this is while you're doing other things. Have your taxes ever been easy?
Oh no, I have no. My tax guy. There's multiple layers.
I was gonna say
no. If I show it to you, there's multiple layers. Multiple layers.
What do you see next in the media space?
I want to know when do people get upset?
What do you mean by that?
The people who provide content, when do they get to a point where they say they want in?
In on? Sorry, you have to walk me through this. I'm trying to follow.
Because I feel like the majority of media right now that people tend to watch is on YouTube. And I don't feel like, or even on Instagram, on all these streaming platforms. We won't just say, but
when will there be an uprising?
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Exactly, because if you just stop putting up media, what will they do? They'll fail. They won't be able to advertise.
So you're saying put it on your own channel?
No, I just think
this is kind of like artists pulling their music off Tidal or whatever that just happened.
It grew so fast and so
or labels.
Okay, there was a time when mixtapes. Remember when the labels went crazy? If you had a mixtape and they just went through the RIAA, they went through and they just started shutting down mixtape stores. If you had mixtape, any record store that had mixtape, they would just shut you down, fine you, pull everything out, send you to.
Yeah, that's
and
what
they
got.
So mad about
DJ
a mixtape.
Cannon.
But now we have YouTube distributing so much music, and they're okay with it. How can they be okay with it? They have to be a part of it. There's no way for them to not to be okay with that, to be okay with this. It just doesn't add up. So unless the artists, the creators, take a stance, then it won't get better. They dictate. Now we're changing the system. This week is this. That's what the artists just did in Cali. When the actors and actresses when they stopped working, that's what that was about. Streaming. You're streaming my movie 10,000 times. You didn't pay me anything. We don't even have a streaming deal. That was Snoop said. I don't even have a streaming deal. How could you? What's going on here? How does that work? And how do you get to change it and dictate it when you want to change it and dictate it?
It's going to have to be when artists are just getting paid. They already are, like fractions of pennies for what they do. That's the only way.
There's folks who benefit, definitely, but I don't think it's pretty fair and it's consistent.
Yeah.
I think that it needs to be some type of consistency and some type of fairness.
How have you navigated that? Like, I mean, you seem to figure it out.
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
No, I don't really, because I don't think that because the way to figure it out is the time and the energy is not worth it for me.
Yeah.
Like what's it take? You got to do this, and this. Well, I've done this and this and this. Well, I got to do it again. This you'll just keep changing the goalposts.
But right now, would you say for a platform like ours, the best bet is advertisers?
Oh, definitely. So right now in this world, it's going to be advertising. So it's not going to be your likes and your views and your counts and trying to get your money from actual views. It's going to be strategic relationships and saying, okay, I'm making sure I cover all your XYZ events. And therefore, we'll do this type of exchange. We'll this type of barter. I'm not here to do your business, but you kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
And once you kind of figure that system out, that's how, oh, let me be a part. I want to be a part of what you're doing. And once people see what you're doing, they want to be a part. And then that's where your money is.
Okay.
Really, it's an advertiser. It's definitely not. Do you have a deck? You probably should have a deck with your likes, which I have one. I'll share with you so you can kind of see.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see that. I've seen the clock ticking as we reach the hour mark.
We're getting there. I do want to ask you a couple questions about your dispensary and what people can, just kind of run me down a little bit about it. I mean, the fact that you're putting a dispensary in a South Station is obviously pretty crazy off the bat.
Yeah, that's insane.
I mean, they're building that big, huge tower over there. Was the Iasaron there?
Directly across the street.
Directly across the street. So, can you tell us a little bit about your project going on? What's going on?
Actually, I'm gonna bring you in. Come on in. You guys. Oh yeah, come on in. So that's when you come on in. So
that's where we bring the cameras.
That's when you bring the cameras. So basically, I do want you to bring the cameras in, but it's located 727 Atlantic Ave. Directly across the street from South Station. I mean, directly. Where the Uber cabs and everyone's there. I can damn near throw a Dunkin' coffee and hit them. And
how does someone get a location like that? I mean, Jesus, that's an amazing location.
Upstairs, I was brought in part of this. I was brought into this as so. What happened is the founders, David and Blake, they founded the property, and they made a social equity, basically project, and that being 51% of it had to be social equity owned. So originally there were 8 members that they brought on to say, okay, we're going to take 8 people and everyone gets a piece. So as time went on, people just either they couldn't, for some reason they couldn't do it or it just didn't work for them. We winded up with 4 social equity members and we're here. But we started this project over 2.5 years ago and we're still not open. And we've been paying rent for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So it's been
especially rent down there.
Yeah,
Jesus.
So it's been a journey. I've learned a lot. You can't. There's no one in the world can do this on their own. No social equity person can truly do this on their own. It's way to sell weed is way too difficult that they make it. It's such a challenge. I figure when I get my foot in the door, we'll see what I could do. Like I said, I don't see a lot of support of helping people really to feed them, and they really truly feed their families. But let me see what I get and how I come back and double down. And I'll definitely teach and give you the game, but I can give you some other game that can get you a little bit more money to your pockets faster.
And with all that, are you at this point in it now, almost 3 years into it and everything? Are you regretting it, or you still all looking forward to it?
It's just not as sweet as you thought it would be.
I get it.
At this point, it's just like, all right, let's get it open. We're very close to open, which is good. You can see
when are you guys gonna open?
We're looking like 45 days.
Oh shit! Okay, so that's not bad.
Yeah, so you can see it. Just a few more things to go through. Just
you getting there.
You got to fix this. You got to fix that. So
you really love weed. You're going through all this red tape. Like you're passionate about not just music, business, but women, but also weed.
What's your favorite strain? What are you smoking on?
Right now, Kush Mints.
I got some of that.
Yeah,
I do have some of that.
I've been liking Kush Mints all year. That's been my strain of the year.
I have an orange Kush Mints.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can smoke some of that.
Okay.
I got some of that. Yeah.
So yeah. So I've been strain chasing since, man, I would say like 89.
Strain chasing. Explain. This guy doesn't smoke weed.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Explain what strain chasing.
Strain chase.
There was this place in Harlem called the Nucleus. And in the Nucleus, this is where hip hop and weed meet. Like the best weed on the East Coast was called Chocolate Tie.
Oh, I remember that. And I'm not even a smoker.
In the Nucleus, and you can also get a Ron G mixtape.
I gotta ask, did you know Branson?
Yes, I've been to Branson. I don't know Branson, but yes,
I've been to Branson.
Yes.
Motherfucker, huh?
Yes,
that's cool shit right there. That's history.
Yes. But
was the weed what they said it was?
Yeah, but by that time, see, one thing about Massachusetts, we've always had great weed.
Good weed.
We've always had great weed. So the Chocolate Tie was something special. There's some other. The Piff was special. The New York D's was special.
Just you hear so many rappers from that golden era of the early '90s, 92, 96. Redman, Noriega, Capone, Biggie, multiple times. Just talking about Branson. Got to smoke that Branson. Method Man, got to get that Branson. Got to get that Branson. Even friggin' Half Baked. Samson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I got to talk to Samson.
It's the same.
We need this. We need that connection.
Well, I think Branson has passed away, hasn't he? I thought he had passed away. I could be wrong. I know they know who he is now because like he's done. I've seen interviews with him and stuff at this point. But he was like a mysterious figure in hip hop for like a long. If you didn't know hip hop and you weren't like deciphering, you would have missed the whole Branson thing.
I missed it.
No, they had a good triangle bags. They just,
triangle bags. Yeah,
something good, something catchy. It was,
see, but someone like myself, right, who was listening to this shit when I was like 14, 15 years old, and understanding it and stealing cannabis from my parents or whatever, out of like the sock drawer or whatever, and then hearing about triangle bags from Branson, and this guy's like, yeah, I used to buy fucking triangle bags from Branson. It's just pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds crazy.
It's pretty fucking dope.
So at one time in Virginia, they used to call me chocolate.
Okay.
I had so much chocolate. They would
Chocolate
call
tie.
me chocolate, yeah.
So back in the day too, it went from like just weed, like it was just weed, and then like they started getting names to it. Chocolate tie was one of the very first.
I remember that,
ones.
like Biggie or somebody.
They had
was,
Acapulco Gold. They had
there was a couple, but not like it is now.
Oh,
like,
no,
yeah, there was a
today,
handful of them, and chocolate tie was one of them. That was like around the Kind Bud era, the fucking, what was it, Hydro.
When did Granddaddy Perp come? Because I have a shirt that says Granddaddy
around
Perp
the same time
with the rocking chair.
A little bit later, but around the same time.
I
Okay.
would say by the late 90s, we're definitely getting that good old.
I've actually met them at Nikan. They've come to the Granddaddy Perp.
Oh, the Granddaddy Purple was before that. Because it was Purple Haze. So the
Purple Haze, yeah.
And so the Purple Haze was early.
Yeah.
And then the Granddaddy probably came like late 90s, early 2000s, I want to say. Are
you someone that that uses bongs, vapes, oils?
So blunts always originally, and then so last year I went to Dubai and India for a month, and I didn't smoke weed.
Yeah, because that's crazy, right? That's what everyone says. You don't smoke weed there.
And when I came back, I tried to smoke a Fonto, some weed. I had some weed that that it was some garbage weed, but it was all that I had. I just came back home. I was like, man, what I got? I was like, oh, that's all I got. I was like, just fucking roll it. I rolled it up. Man, this thing, I can't smoke this Fonto. Fuck, I just threw it away, threw the whole blunt away. I was like, man, but I was just so high because I hadn't smoked in a while, so the weed was garbage when I left, but when I got home, it still tasted like shit, but it just had me really tore up. It had me really high. So from that moment forward, I just sprinkle a little bit of Fonto in a joint, and I kind of roll it up with a filter.
Do you know what a Fonto is?
I do not.
So you have a Fonto company?
Yes.
Long way?
Yes, the long way.
Okay, can you explain to a non-smoker what a Fonto is?
A Fonto is basically a tobacco leaf. It's not basically, it is a tobacco leaf. And they have different kinds. So I either use a Pennsylvania leaf. They have a Cuban leaf. There's so many different leaves. The Ecuadorian leaf. There's so many different leaves.
This is what you're rolling.
They're like this big.
Okay.
And what you do is you rip, like they come folded like in a plastic bag, and you unfold them, rip a little piece off, and roll it up, kind of like a backwoods.
Okay.
So it's actually the backwood. So backwood is really just a leaf.
Okay.
So instead of buying a pack of backwoods, you could just buy your own whole leaf, and it doesn't have anything on it. So it's 100% natural. A lot of times the backwood probably has some type of tobacco in it. So there's all type of preservatives on it. So if it's a natural,
so this is like the tortilla for your.
It is
exactly. You just rip a piece off and you roll it. You've never seen a Fonto leaf?
I have not.
No way.
So I've never seen a Fonto leaf.
No, the thing is too.
I know.
It's
somebody. You don't have a leaf around here?
Where you from?
Connecticut and Michigan.
Oh man, what part of Connecticut?
Avon.
So you remember 88.9?
Big on. They use a lot of grappa.
Near West Hartford.
They use grappa.
This is middle school. I couldn't even get high. Like they had me smoking everything and holding a hand in front of my face to make sure I wasn't exhaling. No one could get me high in middle school. And then I was in Michigan for high school, and then I could get high. Yeah. I did not know what I was smoking though. Yeah. I literally tried to roll up my own weed with just regular white typewriter. Or typewriter? What am I talking about? Printer paper. Mm-hmm. And smoke it.
Printer paper.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah, that's why you said you're doing all the wrong shit.
How do you smoke your weed now?
I don't smoke it.
You don't smoke weed. So
like I might accidentally stumble upon. I stopped drinking like 9 months ago, so that's kind of ended the accidental smoking. Since then, I've gotten a contact high in here, and I've reevaluated my life on the 45-minute drive home before, and be like, damn, I hate weed.
So
hate it.
It's weird though, because I don't know if you were in Boston at the time, but he was the DJ for 88.9 at night. So it's like he
was, because we had stacks of the Cheddar DVDs.
I want to say that's when you were right there on across from the Commons, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, Tremont Street.
I got a great interview in there.
Was it him?
No, you interviewed a big art. You're saying a big artist.
Say is Bump J,
Bumpy Knuckles?
No, from Chicago, Bumpy J.
No, we had WYSO.
Nah, look up Bumpy J. He changed his name from Chicago.
Okay.
A legend in Chicago. Look him up.
Like a weed legend?
No, a legend.
How do I not know this?
He's a Chicago legend, just as far as like he's thorough, solid. He's been to jail. He's been home. He's been rapping for over almost 20 years by now. And oh man, he spits some fire.
Oh, I was gonna ask. So my favorite Cameron album, Purple Haze, and you said you interviewed him. Like, what is it you're smoking on?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Purple Haze?
Nah, he wasn't smoking nothing. He was in probation.
Oh, okay.
Cam was one.
Who had the best
guys,
weed?
Who has the best weed?
For the what you smoking on? Who was the rapper that came with the best fire?
Good question.
Snoop has some good weed.
Well, I would fucking hope so. I mean, if it's like Luke, that's like a Luke party not having some titties at it. Like, you know what I mean?
How many times have you interviewed Snoop?
Ross has some good weed. I would say that's.
How about this? Who has the better weed now, the rappers or the weed guys? Because now you're obviously interviewing a bunch of weed guys now.
So now in this part of my life, I only deal with weed either from the dispensary or the cultivator.
Yep.
So if it's not a dispensary, I really don't want weed if I don't know where it comes from. So if I don't know where it came from, I probably just give it away anyways.
I would think that, like, knowing people now in the industry, though, like, I kind of know everyone that grows all the weed that I come across. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
you know where it came from.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. But I know everybody like that. You know what I'm saying? At this point in time, I know a lot of people in the cannabis industry. That wasn't the case a couple years ago, but you know now it is the case.
No, so ever since I did the What You Smoking On in 2009,
yeah,
cultivator after cultivators.
That's what I'm saying.
I've interviewed cultivators from Maine to Cali, from Cali to Rhode Island, from Rhode Island to Atlanta, from Atlanta, all over.
What state got the best stuff then? In your opinion?
Oh, Cali, hands down.
Cali. Who's number? I shouldn't even ask that. Who's number 2?
One thing I hated Denver weed. I hated Colorado weed. I hated it. That's one thing I couldn't say. I was very disappointed.
But that's hippie central.
Central. Wasn't that like the first like
Hunter S. Thompson ran for governor?
I wouldn't say I hated it. I was just disappointed. Put it like that. I was disappointed in the
I didn't like the weed that I got in Colorado either.
Yeah. And I went search. I went store to store for like I stayed at different Airbnbs for like a week and a half. Just going this spot. All right, I'm gonna stay here. Go to this spot. I'm gonna stay here. Go to this spot. And
I did the same. Thing. Do you know Sammy Gerber? Sammy, he works at Low Key, Low Key Dispensary.
Yes.
I was in Denver myself, and I was doing the same thing you were doing, and then I called him out because he used to work in Denver, and he was like, "Oh, go to this." I forget the fucking spot. I went there because he's like, "That's got the best weed." I went in there. I asked him for their fucking best weed. I literally had to go out to my car and walk back in and be like, "This is fucking weed." You know what I mean? And the guy was like, "Where the fuck did you get that?" I was like, you know what I mean? That kind of shit. The weed wasn't that good.
See, this is what non-weed smokers such as myself don't understand. When you just said that you only smoke weed if you know that it's coming from a specific source, what you were mentioning Snoop Dogg, and I think it was like Caroline's, or I forget the name of the dispensary, had Snoop Dogg for his like 30-second appearance over there to get people into the store. And I remember he's on the bus driving by on the way out, and somebody's like throwing him a couple bags of weed. And I just remember him by the window just like flick. Like he didn't even want to touch the bag. Like, get this shit away from me. So why is it that you'll only smoke weed if you know exactly where it's coming from?
I don't trust anyone.
That it could be laced with some other shit?
It's like, would you drink a drink at a bar if you walked away from it and you came back?
I would have. I would actually drink it right out of somebody else's hand when I was drinking, but that's why I don't drink it.
What happens too as well is like, okay, so once you start smoking really good weed, there's weed like that tastes like actual things. like whatever the terps are. Terps are a big thing in cannabis. So there's weed that actually tastes like, let's say, like a macchiato, or like, you know, a blueberry pancake, or like whatever the fuck.
I love blueberry pancakes.
Well, there's weed that tastes like that.
So,
and well, I mean, but the point of the matter is, if like you used to smoking some good shit, and someone hands you something that might not be up to your caliber of cannabis, you're like.
So I'll put it to you like this. This is a great analogy I'm gonna use. Oh man, I had this this investor. I have a cultivation license still, and I have a lead cultivator, and I've been extremely close to kicking this project off. I know, you know, over the last 2 years, cannabis has fell. I'm glad I'm kind of just sitting on the sidelines to see where the bottom is. But during this journey, one of the first investors I met, he had a ton of money, but never smoked weed. But wanted to tell me who the cultivator was going to be. He's like, I got this guy. He grows tomatoes over here. He's the best tomato grower ever. I'm telling you, wait till he gets here. Da 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 da. So I'm get to talk to the guy, and I'm like, well, what's your favorite strain? He don't know because he don't really smoke weed either.
Man after my own heart. Doesn't smoke weed, tons of money.
So I asked the guy, I'm like, do you know the difference between weeds? And he's like, weed is weed, whatever you can get to grow the most. And I say, have you ever been to a car dealership? He said, yeah. I said, you ever drink that coffee? That's all I said. I didn't even have to finish up and say Starbucks versus car dealership coffee.
I tell people all the time, like Rubinoff versus, like, you know, Belvedere. Like vodka is not vodka. You know what I'm saying? It's not.
And at that moment, he's like, he just stopped.
Stopped, yeah.
And he's like, let's go to eat. And let's go to eat. That's all he said. Let's go to, so he could just pick my brain.
Yeah.
But he had no clue. He had a big bank full of money, but he didn't know what to do with it. He's just gonna take advantage and try to bring the price of can, because he said, by the time I'm done, I'm gonna have weed at $300 a pound. That was his intention. His intention was never, ever, ever a product.
Trying to fuck the whole game up.
Exactly, and that's why we are where we are today. I knew this in 2018 that I was having these type of meetings.
And what he's saying, the reason, can you explain to him what you mean by where we're at today?
You got to see my story in what magazine is it? It's in I'll share it with you. It's one of the Boston magazines. I think it's Boston Proper, and I speak on this. Basically.
Is that the Improper Bostonian?
Yeah, one of those. Improper or one. I don't know which one.
Is Proper Improper?
No, it's the
Commonwealth.
No, I'm sorry. It's Commonwealth.
Okay.
It's Commonwealth. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to.
But just a quick rundown of what you mean by that from someone that wouldn't be in the industry. When you say that,
why? It's greed. It's greed. He just came for greed, so therefore he's just. When you come,
we got to keep
greed,
those culture vultures out.
Well, people are pushing.
The integrity is gone.
The price of the pound down.
It's gonna be like Target for weed,
but with shit product.
Yeah.
And people that aren't educated buying it, that are just trying to buy a $60 ounce, not understanding that it's 3-year-old weed from a warehouse with mold on it, some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Weed can get mold on it.
Oh, yes. Fuck yeah. There's been straight cultivation and grows that have to get shut down because of mold. There's a lot of dispensaries, too, that bleach their weed.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Because what are you saying? Greed, man. It's people that don't know what the fuck they're doing, throwing a lot of money at something.
Why would somebody bleach their weed?
To kill the mold.
Oh. Ew.
Yeah.
Smoking bleach.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's all types of... What he's saying is greed. People that don't know what they're doing. Growing weed is really hard. So growing good weed is really hard.
There you go, growing.
So if I didn't know you guys, then I was just going to I needed like weed. My cousin's in town. He wants me to pick up some weed. How do I know what the fuck to get? I go down to this dispensary down the street and I just like...
You got to guess.
So you got to remember too. So we have in Massachusetts, what we have is we have this group of 50 to 70. And they haven't really smoked weed. I maybe say 55 to 70. But they're out there trying weed. They, like, oh, it's acceptable now. So they're going to kind of just going to accept whatever people they're going to accept. And then you have these young folks, 20 to 30, and they really just start smoking weed. So they're going to kind of like, oh, we're just going to chase the best price because I don't have a lot of money, but where can I go get the cheapest weed from? And then you have this connoisseur
It's like your craft beer, your craft weed.
And we understand, like, okay, if it's not this, because that ain't this and this ain't that, then we don't want it.
It ain't gonna do nothing, and it tastes like you get like it. You realize you're a weed snob when you take a joint from somebody else and you hit it and you're like, what the fuck? And it's like it's their stuff, and you're like, oh, my bad, man. Like, but I'm used to weed that tastes like tangerines. Sorry. You know
is there really like a type of weed? I've been told indica.
So basically, right there, I know he's a tangy fiend. So anything that tangy's dominant, he's gonna like.
Okay.
So from a true connoisseur, he just told I automatically.
You're speaking your own language.
Exactly. I automatically know if I got something that's heavy like a lemon, tangy scent, he's gonna love it. Correct?
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't like tangy, so I don't want anything tangy. So
that was why you didn't like that sunburn when I showed you that bag. You're like, yeah, it's all right. Most people get their shit knocked off when they see that. You're like, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, all right. Now that makes sense.
It wasn't
now.
heavy though. It still had a little gas on the end of it.
Yeah.
So the gas was like, all right, it's cool.
When you burn it has like an interesting smell when you burn it.
Oh, I totally know what you mean.
No, it's one of those.
No,
things.
but it's like a sour beer. Well, how sour do you like your beer? Oh, you hate sour beers. Come over here.
I mean, nowadays,
there's
what
weed
they do,
that's called sour too, right?
Well, they have the terps. They literally, I have smoked weed that tastes like fucking like Chinese food. That tasted like fucking
dumpling weed.
No, actual like I'm trying to think of the noodles, the pad thai.
Yeah,
I know something that grows pad thai. It tastes like pad thai. There's what's the Chinese food with the peanuts in it? There's
I think you're right with the pad thai.
Yeah, the pad thai. Gilf grows pad thai. But there's someone else grows some shit. It's like the Chinese food, but pad thai with peanuts. I forget what the fuck that is. But it tastes like that. I mean, people have like orange creamsicle weed that tastes like not oranges, orange creamsicle.
What's the weed that's not going to make me paranoid as fuck as soon as THC hits my blood?
Like a good 8 to 12%. Don't get the 30%. People like.
I would say stay away from edibles.
Yeah, definitely that. Don't get into those.
Don't do edibles. Edibles are the worst. I smoke a lot
Unless
of
you wanna
weed
sleep.
and I'm scared of edibles.
Me too. Unless I want to sleep.
Any true connoisseur knows like an edible is unpredictable.
Yeah.
I don't care what it says on the package. It's unpredictable. The flower is direct and you know what you have within 5 minutes.
Edibles are also different. It's a different chemical in your whole body and shit like that. It's more of a trip than it is.
How's it gonna break down inside of me? How is it gonna release? When is it gonna release?
And it makes a whole different like chemical.
This time release edible?
Yeah, there are. All right, we're gonna wrap this part of this up right here. We're gonna get to some current events. Before we go though, I'd like you to look into this camera right here. Tell everybody where they can find you. And just all your socials and everything else, and just you've done this before.
Yes, check it out. This is Albie right here speaking live right now on the Big Dookie Chain, and you can find me at Albie Cheddar. It's really simple: ALBIE CHEDDAR Albie Cheddar on Instagram, and from there you can go to YouTube. You can go anywhere else and just find me. Find my What You Smoking On page. But Albie Cheddar, ALBIE CHEDDAR. At Albie Cheddar.
Now I realize, is it still recording, Hush? Yeah. Now I know we're going to go into current events, but I kind of want it to be part of the main interview.
Well, we can just put it all together afterwards. It'll be way easier to do it that time. It will be easier. Trust me. It'll be easier that way. But for now, what do you want to tell these guys right now?
Big Dookie Chain, like, subscribe. My name is Van Styles. To the left of me is Tash, Hush behind the cameras. And it's great having you in the studio today, Albie.
Thank you.
Teaching me about weed, music, business. Not about women.
Fontos.
Yeah.
Thank you
Fontos.
I'm going to give you a deep Fonto lesson.
We got you. Fuck
I need to see this leaf.
Fuck Kurt Schilling. Sense lives. Marty forever. Peace.